Hello and welcome guys. This is a second video about profiling in Golang. In this video, we will focus on CPU profiling. In the previous one, I did the memory profiling. If you're curious, check out the previous video. The link will be in the description. So without any further ado, I'm going to be using the same project as in the previous video. I will just run straight away a profile test.main. Our game will run for 15 seconds. Just put it into the screen. We will let it take the profile and we will analyze it straight away. Let's enjoy the fish swimming for a bit. All right, 15 seconds are done. So once again, go to PPROF and we will take CPU profile. Right, and straight away, let's look at the top 10 of our usages. Let me zoom in a bit. Right here for CPU, we see pretty much the same stuff like for memory. We can see flat percentage, sum percentage, cumulative and cumulative percentage, right? And the top functions. So flat is how much we are spending specifically in this function. Flat percentage is percentage of overall time we spent, right? Sum is just cumulatively adds from top to bottom. Cumulative is how much we are spending in this function from previous calls. It's hard to see here, but we can do like top 20 and specify cum flag. And now we can see a bit of a different result. And the result is different because here we are sorting by flat, right? So we are going from highest flat to the lowest. And here we are sorting by cumulative. And once again, cumulative is essentially how much time we spent in this function plus everything that called this function. Right? And because of that, the results are very different. I usually focus first on the just flat, right? To see which functions are actually taking the most time. And then here we can analyze it to see which functions were calling this function. So how did we get there? Right? So in here, straight away, we can see that cgo call, runtime cgo call is taking the most of the time, then masspo, and then my function calculate acceleration. But I don't know what is calling cgo call and masspo and calculate acceleration. So let's analyze it. And I understand that you might be unaware of this project, obviously, that you have no clue what's happening in here. But let's imagine that you came to work, right, and you've been given a task to analyze performance of some project, understand where the CPU problems and how you can fix them. So my goal of this video is not to show you how the project works, but essentially what steps you can take to understand where the problematic areas are. Right, so here we can already see that cgo calls, masspo, calculate acceleration, these functions are problematic. Right, so let's analyze them. And the easiest way for me still, I think, is just going through web view. So we will do HTTP and we will open it into 8080 board. All right, let's open it up. Right, and actually in front of us, we can see straight away a graph of which functions are calling what and basically what our application is doing. Right, and overall, straight away, I can tell you we need to look for red stuff, right? The red stuff, the redder it is, the more problematic it is, probably. Like, not problematic, but more time we spend there, right? And the giant red stuff is obviously a runtime cgo call. And essentially, this is the same thing we saw in our top 10, right? This was the top function. And the second top was mass.po, and we can see both of them here, right? So let's analyze. And overall, what can we see here? So there are obviously the name of the function. Then we see how much time we spend here, right? So it's 409 we spend here out of 410, and 410 is overall cumulative, right? From all the calls up to here, how much we spend in here. And then we can see there are different types of arrows, right? So the thicker the line is, the more time we spend here, and the thinner, the less time. And there is like a solid line and dashed line. So the dashed line means that there was some other function called in between, but we inline them, right? Because we spent so little time there that they are pretty much unimportant, right? And we can see overall no other arrow types here. So we can see either solid or dashed. And now we can see that what called our c.go, it's OpenGL. So I straight away understand that this is a graphics tool. Obviously, you don't know the project, but I understand that this is a library I use to draw my project. And I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do something with that because probably we will create a different thread here, right? As you can see, we are doing thread loop because for OpenGL, we need to provide a separate thread. And this is not very efficient, but apparently nothing I can do about it. And another thing I want to mention to you, as you can see, we have like arrows 126 and 392 seconds, right? What do they mean? Is how much we spent in each arrow, right? Might be a bit confusing because it was for me. So I thought that somehow 126 and 392 relate to this dashed arrow, but it's just this one is 126, this is 392, and the rightmost is 0.28 seconds. Right, so don't get confused. And as you can see, we have one number next to each arrow, and we can see them, right? Sometimes it's written in line, right, in the dash line, but sometimes, I don't know, haven't digged into it, but overall, when we see dash line, once again, it's something that's been inlined. And overall, as you can see, we have a lot of red and we have grays. We can have like yellow something. As you can see here, it's like kind of like yellowish, right? So it's a lot of time, but not as significant as the red. So most of the time you need to look for red, but it depends on your project, right? Maybe you can't do anything about the red stuff and you need to optimize the yellows, right? Something like that. But in our example, we see go calls. For now, I can't do anything. Uh, Maybe I'll try in the future, but for now we will focus on method.po and look at what it does. So as you can see, we are spending here 399 seconds, which is quite a lot. And what is calling it is Boyd's vector to d, right? And Boyd's is my struct. So straight away I understand that this is my code, which calculates distance in vector to d. And what it does, where it's being called from calculate acceleration. Acceleration is the direction of each fish. Right, and we can see here we are starting job for our Boyds. And if you've seen previous video, right, you saw that we are creating like a worker pool and calculate the acceleration for each fish in parallel, right, in goroutines. And this is something we can fix. And obviously, when I was writing code, I didn't think too much about math.po, but obviously it's not that fast. We can just multiply two numbers one by another because, as you can see, math.po does a lot of things like math, LD expression, math.mod diff. You can dig into it what it does, but essentially we are splitting a float into like an integer part and whatever is going after it, like the float part, right? And then we need to combine them. So it does a lot under the hood, which honestly we don't need at all. So this is the optimization we can do. But once again, I understand that you might be not familiar with the project, but overall I want to give you the picture how you can analyze the code, right? To see what's calling it. And this is essentially a tree, right? And as you can see here, we were running a test. Then we loaded GIF. It can be optimized as well, but you can see the entire path of our code being executed, right? So this is one path, delete here. This is another path, which we started the job because it's in a separate Go routine, but obviously it was called from benchmark main. And I think that's why they placed it on top, so you can understand at which time frame, like a waterfall, sort of, how it was called. Right. So those are most essential parts from the web view. Let me open it once again. Obviously, you can just change the view, right? We can do the top like we did in the terminal. We can look at the flame graph or how it was called, right? Another good example. We can pick into functions. And I think this is more useful in the terminal, right? If you don't want to go into web view. And yeah, let's just do that. So how can we analyze our code from, if we don't want to do a web view, you just want to do it in a terminal. So we will do once again top 10 and we have our c.go. And here we can do something. We can obviously list to look into function and look at what it does, but it won't give us much of an information, right? It just does what it does. We spent for some reason for 9 here seconds, right? But the most important part here, we need to understand what called it, right? So we can do list to look into the function, or we can pick into it, right? And pick will show us who called the function and what this function called. And as you can see, this function is in the middle, right? When you see these numbers, essentially, this is our function. On top of it, who is the callee and who is the, who is the caller and who is the being the callee, right? So this function called only exit syscall, and these are the functions that called our cgo call. And once again, here, as you can see, this is a Python library I'm using for rendering. So straight away, I am able to understand, all right, a Python is using c.go, cgo call, right, for something. Right, we can do as well tree for random cgo call, but I think it's going to be just too big. Yeah, it's just a huge tree. But anyways, we can look through the tree of what call this function if it's more of a preferable approach for you. And once again, here we can see the error group we saw before, right? This is a Go routine wrapper. We see our benchmark main and overall update state, update input state. We see OS loop thread. So essentially the same we saw on the web view, right? If you prefer this approach, for me it's because there are multiple trees, right? It's a bit confusing which tree went where. But anyways, we can see the most important parts, right? We can see that there is loop game, update game, So once again, I can understand straight away from some functions of what is using this Sego call. All right, we can do the same thing for our method PO. Right, we can pick into it, and we can see that massPO called it, right? And massPO called all this function. So let's pick into public version. And here we can see the same thing, right? So this is my code, right? Vector to d length and vector to d distance. And from the web view, I remember that distance was the heavy lifter, essentially. This is what was calling method PO more often than the length. So this is what we'll try to optimize. And we can pick into even higher, right? We can go into, for example, distance, and we see the distance is being called by calculate acceleration, right? Now we can pick into calculate acceleration. We see that our start job is calling it. Now we can list calculate acceleration, and here we can see the view as well. We can see flat and cumulative amounts as well for each function. This is literally the function right from my code. And in here we see, there we go, 452. So here we have numbers on the left and on the right. So on the left is how much we spent specifically in this function, right? So in calculate acceleration, we spent 70 milliseconds here, but the call of the function, right, the distance, then is spent for 52 seconds, right? So the calculate acceleration spent here 70 milliseconds, but the inner call, right, the function which we called was 4.5 seconds. All right, so the fix actually is quite simple. We will go into our vector 2D, and as you can see here, we are doing method PO, and we will just remove it, right? Let me adjust the code for that. And just in case if you're wondering of what are we doing here, right, why we are taking square root, we are doing method PO, this is essentially a Pythagoras theorem. So we use it to calculate right distance between 2 points. And yeah, probably you've learned about school in the school. So a squared, b squared equals c squared, and this is what we are doing, right? So our fish, one fish is here, one fish is here, and we just use it to calculate the distance between them, essentially, right? All right, once again, that's not important for the topic of this video, but nevertheless, as you can see here, we are being called, all right, we have our calculate acceleration, our distance calculation, and now let's have a look if it changed anything. Let's adjust CPU to hold, right, and now let's call just for test one more time. It will create once again a new file. Let our game run for 15 seconds. And I think already the FPS is higher. 81, 70. I think we can improve it further. You go, right, it's a big problem. All right, the test is done. And now let's have a look at our new profile. So we will do, once again, PPROF. Now the new file is CPUPROF. The old one is old. So now let's look at top 10. As you can see, massPO disappeared from it. And we still have calculated acceleration, but it's taking way less time. I mean, it's taking the same time if we will look into it right now, right? So we have distance, and now just a tiny fraction, right? 140 milliseconds from 4.5, essentially, right? And if we will list our distance, right, nothing is happening here, right? Previously, right, we didn't look into it, but nevertheless, you can see that it's not that significant. We can remove mass square root in some of them as well. We can just compare square roots, but it's not that important for this video, and it's not going to give much of an impact. All right, let's exit and let's visually compare these results as well. So we'll add HTTP 8080, and we need to specify base, and the base will be deducted from the second argument. So we will specify CPU old profile, and we will deduct from CPU, our new profile, the old one. Let's have a look at the web view. All right, and now we have some green stuff. And green means that, once again, we divided from the new one, the old one, and if we see something in the green with the minus, it means that we improved it. And obviously, mass.po just disappeared from it. Right, we are no longer using it. I think something else might be calling it. No, nothing. All right, so this is just from the old logic. And as you can see in calculate acceleration, we got off minus 4.5 seconds essentially, right? So we got a great improvement. And overall here, as you can see, the general picture is pretty gray, but for some reason Citadel Go is a bit of an orange color here, but we didn't change anything right away. So it's will be different from run to run, but we can clearly see that method poll gave us an improvement, a significant one. All right, let's close it up. And we can do the same actually without the web view. Right? We can just, once again, look at the top 10. We see the differences, right? And we can list once again our calculate acceleration function, which was using the most. And once again, here we can see that just minuses all over the board, right? And the most important one here, right? We got minus 4.5 seconds essentially, right? Something increased, not sure why. But I guess it will depend from run to run. Essentially, this is how we can compare the results. I prefer the web view. Obviously, it will give you straight away the very easy to understand visual picture. And overall, this will be it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. As usually, if you enjoyed it and would like to see more videos like this, please subscribe, like, share, and comment. But most importantly, thank you very much for watching. I will see you in the next one.